Today, I want to go over one of the more powerful tools you can put in your Salesforce partner, admin, or consultant toolbox. It's called DLRS. That stands for Declarative Lookup Rollup Summaries. And if you Google that or copy this URL that I can put below, you will find the GitHub repository that has all of the knowledge, as well as the location where you can download the latest version of this application into your production or your sandbox org. So why would we want to use DLRS? Well, it allows you to create roll-up summary fields that are based off lookup relationships versus just master detail, which means you can make connections between any object in your Salesforce org. You don't have that normal parent-child relationship limitation. You also don't have the limitation of the number of roll-up summaries that you can use, and you've got way more aggregation options that you can add, and multiple aggregations if you wanted to say, I want the average of these, but not these, and this is closed. It's just a much more flexible tool anytime that you want to sum, count, pull in, and display any sort of information from one object to another. So if that sounds good to you, let's look in how we would do it. Step number one is to create a field where the roll-up data will appear. So I'm going to create an example over to the right, and if we're on our account information, let's say we want to see the number of open cases. Just create a field, put it on your page layout, number of open cases, use a standard number field. If you're using a text, use a text field, just put that in there. Put whatever number that you want to have for it, 6 digits, 18 digits, decimals. Probably don't want a decimal for number of open cases, but you never know. It might have half a case sometime. Once you create that field where the roll-up data will appear, you want to install DLRS if you have not already. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get into your org. And if you are a little bit worried about putting something in there from GitHub, look up Andrew Fawcett. He is the Salesforce MVP who developed it. Very trusted resource in the community. So you can trust that this tool is something that you can put in pretty much any org without any fear of bloat or negative repercussions. So the third step we're going to do is define the roll-up summary. So once you've created the field, the roll-up field, and downloaded the application, you're going to go into Manage Lookup Rollup Summary. So this is the welcome field right here that you'll get upon installation, and then click over to Manage Lookup Rollup Summaries. You want to create a new one. You'll have a running list as you create more and more of these in this upper left-hand corner. You want to name it. Number of open cases, get your API name, so no spaces over here, so it's a unique name. The parent, we remember, was an account. The child was a case. The relationship field, so you'll find this on the child object. It's the lookup field between the parent and the child relationship. And it's always a good idea to have your object manager open so you can look up these very quickly. So I'm going to look for case, fields in relationship, and looks like right here, look up to account, it's account ID right there. So I can type in account ID. The relationship criteria, so you can put, like I mentioned before, a number of different filters on here. I want open cases, so I'm going to do a simple one, is closed false. Whatever field you use for that relationship criteria, be sure to type it down here. So I just use one field, is closed, so I'm going to type is closed right there. Field to aggregate. So what's the child relationship that we're aggregating? What content are we going to aggregate? If it's a opportunity and you want to have the amount of potential sales, you would put that field in there. In this case, I'm going to use the whole ID for this case because we're just going to count that. If I wanted to order in any way, I would use this field order. I don't. And where I want to put the result is what we saw earlier on this account. So number of open cases. So I'm going to look that up in the account field. build some relationships, number of locations, or no, actually number of new cases. That's what we want there, right there. And pop that bad boy in there. Number of open cases. Aggregate all rows. You can check this or not. What it does is it'll look in the garbage bin and the archive in there. So if you wanted to keep those in there, you could. Row limit. I don't typically enter any information there. You might be tempted to keep it active. Do not right now, but I want to calculate in real time, and I like to do it system-wide. So, all right. Everything looks good. I'm going to go and click Save. Cool. From there, we're going to move on to the next step. So we've defined that roll-up summary. We saved it, and now we're going to deploy it. So to deploy it, we go to Manage Child Trigger. Scroll down and deploy. All right, so it may take a second to deploy this right here. All right, if you have any errors, go back and fix those errors. It looks like I did not. So I can go back to Manage Lookup Rollup Summaries, find number of open cases. Go ahead and activate that. Save. And then we're going to do a full calculate. So we're going to have that run everywhere in our org. And if we're lucky, we got everything right. And I believe I put one case for megacore. So we should. There we go. We've got one open case. So that's just a quick example of how you'd use DLRS. It is a flexible tool, and I imagine you can come up with many, many more options. So hopefully this is helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video.